but you do.
Yes, but men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. All my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully blue eyes you have, Ernest. They are quite blue. I hope you will always look at me just like that, especially when there are other people present.
Mr. Worthing! Rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous.
Maman, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing has not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Maman.
Pardon me. You are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I or your father will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come on a young girl as a surprise. Pleasant or unpleasant, as the case may be. It is hardly a matter she could be allowed to arrange for herself. And now I have a few questions to put to you, Mr. Worthing. And while I'm making these investigations, you, Gwendoline, will wait for me below, in the Bentley.
Maman!
In the Bentley, Gwendoline. Gwendoline, the Bentley!
Maman!
You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men, although I have the same list that the dear Duchess of Bolton has. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I am glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you?
29.
A very good age to be married at. I've always been of an opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it, and the bloom is gone. Fortunately, in England, at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes and would probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. What is your income?
Between 70 and 80,000.
In land or in investment?
In investments, chiefly.
That is satisfactory. What between the duties expected of one during one's lifetime and the duties exacted from one after one's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said about land.
I have a country house with some land, of course, attached to it, about 1,500 acres. But I don't depend on that for my real income. In fact, as far as I can make out, the poachers are the only ones who make anything out of it.
A country house! How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoilt nature like Gwendoline could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
I own a house in Belgrave Square, but it's let by the year to Lady Bloxham. I can get it back whenever I like at 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham. I don't know her.
She goes about very little. She's a lady considerably advanced in years.
Nowadays, there is no guarantee of respectability of character. What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I thought there was something. However, this could easily be altered.
You mean the fashion on the side?
Both, I presume, if necessary. What are your politics?
I'm afraid I really have none. I'm a liberal.
Oh, the counter stories. They dine with us, or come in the evening at any rate. And now, to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I've lost both my parents.
Both? To lose one parent may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both seems like carelessness. Who was your father? He evidently was a man of some wealth. Was he born in what the radical papers call the purple of commerce, or did he rise from the ranks of the aristocracy?
I'm afraid I really don't know. You see, Lady Bracknell, I said that I had lost my parents. It would be nearer the truth to say that my parents seem to have lost me. I don't actually know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman of a very kindly and charitable disposition, found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket to Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing's a place in Sussex. It's a seaside resort.
And where did this charitable gentleman who had a first-class ticket to this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A sac à main?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. A somewhat large black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
And in which particular location did this Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across that ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes. The Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to? As for the particular location in which the handbag was found, a cloakroom at a railway station might serve to conceal a social indiscretion, has probably indeed been used for that purpose before now, but it could hardly be regarded as an assured basis for recognized position in good society.
Well, may I ask you then what you would advise me to do, Lady Bracknell? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible and to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that, Lady Bracknell. I can produce the handbag at any moment. It's in my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you.
Me, sir? What has this to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up in the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Good morning. For heaven's sake, Algie, don't play that ghastly tune. How idiotic you are.
In school for right, old boy? Oh, you don't mean to say Gwendolyn refused you? I know it isn't where she has. She's always refusing people.